All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our generative AI course. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. And tonight was heavy on the note taking. We did take some notes about function calling, so I'm not going to do too much reading. Let me just go over straight to the notebook and show you what we went over initially, and then I'll come back to this so we can see exactly where we implemented the stuff. So to begin with, we started the function calling yesterday. I showed you how we started that with this here, the student custom function. It's the function call we created, or the function we created to actually call our API instead of doing it directly with the chat completion. So this is the one we called right here. Then we created a new response called the response to equals client dot chat dot completions dot create. This is the model. This is still the same model. Our message we condensed down to one line, and then we actually passed in a parameter function. So we actually created a parameter called functions where we call the student custom function this information here, and we ran it like that. Now, of course, we're still having the same issue with the open API subscription fee, but it worked for the instructions, so I'm pretty sure it'll work for us. I'm assuming if we had all the information we needed. And then we just called the response to, which broke back the information, and then we broke it down like we broke everything else down. Response to dot choices, zero index, dot message. Now you can see here there's the difference. Yesterday we had the message dot content. We were able to use that to get the information back, but we couldn't do it here. We used the content because we were calling the API directly from the chat completions. But since we created a function call to go around and do it through that, we have to call a function call to actually get information back. So that's the only difference in the steps there. So you can see here we have a response to dot choices, zero index, message dot function call dot arguments. This actually brings back just the information that we want instead of all of the rough data. And then we do the JSON dot loads, response to dot choices, zero index dot message dot function call, and that actually brings back the information in the JSON style format. So yeah, that was what we did today. Just going over different ways we can do the function call. This is still the basic method of the function call. You can see there was totally no difference in the information that we got. Well, there was no information. There was no difference in his information. Like I said, we didn't actually run it ourselves because of the situation. We're still waiting on that open source version so we can actually follow along hands on. But yeah, there was no difference in the way we actually got the information. The only difference came when we were trying to get it back. And you can see here, instead of using the content, we used the function call. Let me show you the content so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, so you can know how we use the dot content. So you can see here, initially it was response choices zero index message dot content, and that brought back the information from our API that we were requesting from it. This information here. So yeah, so instead of using that content, because we weren't calling API directly, we couldn't use the dot content. But since we created a function, we have to use the function call to get the information through the function that we called the API with. And that's how we got the initial information back. And then we use dot arguments to break the information down into readable sections that we could work with. And then we pass it through a JSON loads method, and then it brought it back in a JSON format style. So that's what we did tonight. Let me go over here and go back to the reading. And then basically we just took notes on all the way we did everything here. It just broke down how we did everything and the explanations why everything was different. See the message dot function call. Yeah, so that's all it was right now. Basically, we're just still waiting on to get to that open source version of the model so we can actually follow along hands on. But of course, like I said, I'm going to keep on taking notes every step of the way so we can have everything down pat. For when that time comes, we can just dive right in without having too many questions. But yeah, I will keep you posted every step of the way. For now, it's the Python Poppy. You guys stay Gucci.